Welcome back to another video. My name's Jackson. Today we're going to be going through my players ranked 1 through 12 and will be drafted in the first round of the fantasy football drafts this upcoming fall. I just want to get a head start into it. I'm really excited for this upcoming season, so let's hop right into it. My number one overall ranked player going into this fall is Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from the Detroit Lions. His current ADP is 1.6, so he's in between getting picked first and second pretty much every single draft. Last year, he had 1,800 yards from scrimmage. Now he has no David Montgomery to worry about. They did end up signing Isaiah Pacheco, but I really don't think that he's going to eat into the role of Jahmyr Gibbs all that much. Without David Montgomery last year, Jahmyr Gibbs averaged 8.5 more points per game without David Montgomery, and they were starting to phase him out anyway. So I think they're kind of going to be going in that direction with Pacheco as well. He should get a lot more carries in the red zone because, Monty was that bruiser back, and I think Gibbs is just going to take over the whole entire role, being the every down back, playing, pretty much every single snap of the game as much as they can. He's the best athlete on the field, so they need him out there as much as possible. And this offense just has a lot of continuity coming back to it. They do have a new offensive coordinator, but I think that the continuity from this offense will overtake that newness from, offensive style play calling, and they'll be able to transform something into a very nice offensive season. My number 2 ranked player is Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons. His current ADP is 1.5, so same as Jahmyr Gibbs, getting kind of drafted in that 1 and 2 spot. Really, the only reason why I have Bijan at number 2 versus Gibbs at number 1 is the quarterback play. The quarterback play is a little bit questionable going into the season, whether it's going to be Tua or Michael Penix. We don't know, so that does kind of put a little worry in me. But overall, he's still going to be a great player. 2,300 yards from scrimmage last season, and still only had 11 touchdowns and 7 of them on the ground. A lot of rushing touchdowns come from how good your offense is, how many times they get in the red zone, inside the 10, inside the 5. And I think that, he's not on a team that is going to be inside the 5, more times than the Buffalo Bills, for instance. I think the Bills will be inside the 5 a lot more. But a big plus for Bijan is that they don't have Tyler Algier anymore. They do bring in Brian Robinson, but I don't think that he's going to be anything that's going to affect Bijan a whole lot, kind of like how Pacheco is going to be in Detroit. I think that Bijan will be the workhorse, the every down back, and he played behind a solid O-line, and they're getting them back again this season. I think he's going to get a lot more carries in the red zone too now that Algier is gone. And I think that if the quarterback play is pretty, average, then I think that, he's going to be a top 3 player, probably top 1. So at my 3rd ranked player going into this fall, I have Puka Nacua. His ADP right now is 4.1. I'm taking him as my 3rd ranked player overall. Last year, he missed 1 game and still outscored JSN, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's just very consistent and huge upside wide receiver. They're basically running it back with the Rams and Matt Stafford, McVay. I think they're going to be just as good this year, so I really have nothing to worry about with Nacua, even with the rehab stint and all that. I think that's going to be behind us come July, and no one's even going to remember that, and that's why he's my 3rd ranked player. He's just a super high floor on a great offense. My 4th ranked player this upcoming fall is Jamar Chase. His ADP right now is 3.1. I have him at my 4th ranked player, so not too much of a difference. He's still a super high floor player. The Bengals did go after some defensive players this offseason, getting Dexter Lawrence in the trade, and then drafting pretty much their whole draft was defense. I'm not saying that the defense is going to be revamped and great all of a sudden. I just think that, getting a little bit better is definitely a step in the right direction for their defense. And this ultimately leads to less pass attempts, less targets to chase. And you can't tell me that there wasn't, a whole big reason why Chase and T. Higgins and Burrow have been so good, because they throw the ball so much from this bad defense. They're always playing catch up. They're down and losing games. They got to throw. They got to move fast. And that was why Jamar Chase and this whole offense was seeing so many pass attempts, so many targets to him. So I think that, possibly they take a step up this season, not like an astronomical jump on the defensive side of the ball, but just enough to probably affect, how their offense is running. Maybe they're not losing every single game by 2 touchdowns and they have to throw 50 times a game this year. Maybe it's down to 30. So, I mean, that's 20 pass attempts a game taking away. So it's a lot of targets and yards. But I still love Ja'Marr Chase. He's still going to be a super high floor player, still get a ton of targets, but he's still my number 4th ranked player. My 5th ranked player in fantasy football this season, as of right now, is Jackson Smith-Njigba. His ADP is 5.1. Really, the only reason why I have him behind Puka and Ja'Marr is because they lost Clint Kubiak, their offensive coordinator, this season, which could turn out to be a big loss or really could turn out to not affect him at all. He's going to have the same offensive role, I would assume, in this offense. They really only have Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, Torrey Horton's kind of a nothing burger as well. So he's going to have the same role. He's going to receive all the targets, no really real competition for targets or anything of that sorts. So super high floor player. You really can't go wrong with any of those 3 wide receivers. It's just so hard to rank them. But I do have JSN at my 5th ranked overall. My 6th ranked player going into fantasy football this season is Christian McCaffrey. Right now his ADP is 7.2 on Underdog. I have him at number 6, mainly because he's just a huge focus at the 49ers offense. Kyle Shanahan loves using him in the swing pass game, just the passing game in general. He's not efficient as a runner as he used to be when he was younger, but he still is pretty good. He had a pretty good amount of yards last season and a ton through the air, so many catches. And with Juwan Jennings gone, Kittle with the injury, he might not be back right away. They're going to look to use McCaffrey so much again this season, and they did bring in Mike Evans, but he's getting older too, so who knows what's going to happen with him this season. I like McCaffrey at this spot at 6. I think that, he is just so involved, you can't pass him up if you're in this position. My 7th ranked player going into fantasy football this year is Amon-Ra St. Brown. His ADP is 8. I'm taking him at 7. Really, the thing that comes down to it is just the new offensive coordinator, kind of like what I was saying with Jahmyr Gibbs. We have so much continuity on this offense. I don't think it's going to affect him too much, and he's a very good player that it's going to overcome all this new play style, play calling. I think that they're going to be just fine. He is one of the most consistent wide receivers in the entire NFL. He's like a top 3, top 5 fantasy football wide receiver every single year. So I think that he is in for another big year. Great quarterback play will be awesome. They got Gibbs. They're going to be pretty good offensively. And he's just the most consistent wide receiver. My 8th ranked fantasy football player going into this season is Jonathan Taylor. Right now his ADP is 6.8. I have him at 8, mainly a lot to do with the offense. I don't know if the Colts are going to be just as good as last year. They lose Michael Pittman. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles in week 14, so who knows when he will be back. I think they're leaning towards an early return, but you never know. There could be a setback. He still ran good behind a banged-up O-line last year, and now they're going to be pretty solid again, so he's still going to be a pretty high-floor running back. Just not great catching out of the backfield, but he's still a super efficient runner, and I still like him in this first round. My 9th ranked player going into fantasy football this year is CeeDee Lamb. His ADP is 9.3. He is one of the best in the game for sure, up there with Ja'Marr, JSN, Justin Jefferson, all of them. But the emergence of George Pickens on this team is something you can't deny. I mean, he had so many yards last year, so many catches when CeeDee Lamb was hurt. Even when CeeDee Lamb was playing, there were some games where George Pickens just took over. And we're going to see that again this year, I think. I think that if they both stay healthy, they're both 1,000-yard receivers, probably up in the 11, 12, 1,300s each. I think this offense is going to be firing on all cylinders if they do stay healthy. And that's why I like Lamb still in the first round. I just think that, George Pickens takes away from Lamb's ceiling a little bit. Like in 2023, he was so good, so many yards, catches, touchdowns. And I think that, George Pickens takes some of those away. And we can't deny that after what we saw last year. And again, Same thing kind of with the Bengals. The defense is not going to be bottom three, I don't think. I think they went and drafted and went into free agency and did some good things. And Caleb Downs, they got Quinnen Williams as well. And Malachi Lawrence, I believe his name is, in the draft too. So they won't be, some pushover defense this year. They probably will just be average, leading to less pass attempts. But still, I think both of these receivers, and CeeDee Lamb especially, is going to be great to get here in the first round. My 10th ranked player going into fantasy football this year is James Cook. His ADP is currently 11. I have him ranked 10th. Really, it all comes down to Joe Brady and this new offense. Joe Brady loves James Cook. As we saw over the years, he's gotten him more and more involved. I would like to see him get a little bit more involved in the passing game. I mean, James Cook is very athletic. I know he can do it, but they just love their other running backs like Ty Johnson and Ray Davis on third down, unfortunately. But James Cook, regardless, is still going to be a super consistent player. And he's on a very good offense that's going to score a lot of touchdowns. And like I said earlier, touchdowns are a factor of having a good offense, getting in the red zone more often, and the Bills are going to do that year in, year out. They are very consistent with doing that, and James Cook is very consistent as well. My 11th ranked player is a little bit risky. I have Justin Jefferson here at number 11. His ADP right now is 9.7, which I'm a little bit surprised by his ADP, being with the risky situation at quarterback. We don't know if it's going to be Kyler or J.J. McCarthy. I mean, KOC, I think, is going to end up going with Kyler Murray. I think that's just the right decision. But he elevates quarterbacks. I think he can elevate Kyler Murray into the old Kyler Murray. And I think that, they're going to help each other out. Jefferson's going to help Kyler. Kyler's going to help Justin Jefferson get back to form. And, Kyler going into this new situation might just be what he needs to get himself back in this game and get the Vikings right back on track. Justin Jefferson, one of the best in the game. Really nothing else to say. I just hope that Kyler and KOC can get him the ball a lot more this season. My 12th ranked player going into fantasy football this season is Saquon Barkley. Right now, his ADP is 14.3. Now that the Eagles have a new offensive coordinator, A.J. Brown's probably going to be traded in June. Saquon Barkley is going to be the main focus of this offense again, and this is going to go back to 2024 when he ran the ball so many times, got 20-plus touches a game. At least we hope that this is going to happen. But I think it will, and I think that, Devonta Smith being there is going to help the offense too. But having AJ Brown out of the whole entire room, it gives Saquon more opportunity. This offense is just going to have to run through him. He's got still a very good offensive line, and this team's definitely going to want to run the ball through him. And they're just going to play smash mouth ball just like in 2024.